Empire. Can exercise incorporate modern gaming?
We interviewed hundreds of people that care about fitness, spend money on fitness, but struggle with their current fitness routine. Talking about when was the time in your life where you were the most engaged in fitness, when you were in the best shape, when working out was the least boring, right? And a lot of answers came from the sports world.
That's Tom Aulet, CEO of Ergatta, a company who wants to be everything for every kind of exercise enthusiast. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. Tom Aulet and I have a few things in common. Exercise classes and even gyms at times don't always motivate me to get that workout in. So he and his team took some steps to try to offer a way to make exercise more competitive, engaging, and fun. Our guest this week is Tom Aulet. He's the CEO and the co-founder of Ergatta that is launching a brand new gaming experience called Vortex, which is going to be a golf version of a game-based home fitness brand. Tom, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be on, Bram. Thanks for having me.
Tell me a little bit about Ergatta, and then we'll talk specifically about the game Vortex.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, so Ergatta. So we are a connected home fitness brand. So we sell kind of digitally enabled fitness machines for the home. The primary thing that's different about us is we provide a different type of content experience. So where Peloton and most of the kind of the similar brands do streaming fitness classes, so videos of instructors or classes that you follow along with, we have interactive games. So games that are, think kind of Mario Kart versus Netflix. So games that are interactive, personalized to you, competitive, kind of more engaging in that way. So we are creating this kind of new experience that we call game-based fitness. And so the flagship product right now is the Ergatta rower. So it's a rowing machine made out of cherry wood, kind of looks nice, looks like furniture, stores compactly. Obviously has a tablet with a bunch, thousands of different kind of digital workout options. And the primary way that we engage you is through in those workout options is through games.
Okay.
Games, competition, personalization.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So where did the idea come for you to gamify the exercise experience?
So I'm just someone who is in my adult life really struggled to kind of find a regular workout routine. So I played sports all the way through high school and college. And then after college, when I kind of went into kind of an office job, I just struggled with fitness. Classes were never for me. When I went to the gym, I was bored. I didn't really know what to do. And so I used to run outside every morning. My knees started to hurt. I eventually got a rowing machine for my apartment in New York. And so I started to row every morning for 30 minutes because it was efficient, it didn't hurt my knees, et cetera. But it was so boring. And this was at the time where like digital media, digital content was kind of revolutionizing a lot of different consumer activities, and fitness was clearly one of them. And so that got my mind going. Myself and my co-founders were not big fitness class people. So there was clearly an opportunity to kind of innovate from the content perspective. So that's where it came from, a personal experience.
Okay. And I'm in your boat too. I like working out. I don't like the experience of working out without it being something that's interesting to me. So this appeals to me. And then the next step is you have to come up with things that are appealing. So could you take me through that process of thinking through and then figuring out whether people are actually interested in the content you're creating?
Yeah, I mean, so I'll answer that first philosophically and then tactically. Kind of at the most fundamental level, when we were researching this company, we interviewed hundreds of people that care about fitness, spend money on fitness, but struggle with their current fitness routine. Talking about when was the time in your life where you were the most engaged in fitness, when you were in the best shape, when working out was the least boring, right? And a lot of answers came from the sports world, right? When I was on a hockey team, when I was on a basketball team, when I was really into golf or whatever it was. And that's where a lot of the inspiration drove from. It's when you're not, quote, working out, but you are playing a game, you're competing in a league, you're whatever, all that stuff. And then so that was kind of where a lot of the like high level inspiration came from. And then really tactically, like we come up with a bunch of different ideas. We brainstorm a bunch of different games. We get inspiration from the gaming industry, from sports, from fantasy sports, from mobile gaming, from a bunch of different sources. And then we put prototypes or ideas in front of members and leads and get their feedback first, just like wireframes, and then eventually actually usable prototypes on the rower. So it's very member feedback driven, very kind of interview based, very discovery based. So we rely a lot on actual live and kind of after the fact feedback from people that test out the games, react to the games. And then ultimately, like, the way that we track our success in engaging people is creating a habit, creating a long-term habit. That's our core mission. That's the core thing that we're chasing. And so we measure a habit as working out at least 2.5 times on Ergatta per week for a 4-week period. So that's a habit, right? So if that continues for a year, 2 years, 3 years, that is data that tells us that we're doing a good job of engaging you, helping you create a habit, helping you remove barriers to working out regularly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk to your customers and they have a similar mindset, they want to engage with fitness differently, and now you're creating things and asking them for feedback. What are you finding out from them? Do they miss the camaraderie of being on a team? Do they miss competition? Do they want to be like in an Orange Theory class and competing with everybody around them? Like, what are they telling you?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, like, generally speaking, it's like they never leave the home to work out, right? And they're, you know, and they'll never go to a gym again, or they'll never go to a class again. Generally speaking, they'll do that once a week, maybe a couple times a month, but they can't work it into their routine to do that every single day or 5 times a week or whatever it is. So the feedback is they still do occasionally hike a mountain, play a basketball game, maybe go to an Orange Theory class. But generally speaking, that what they tell us is they are more engaged in our games because the specific customer that we attract, right, that responds to our marketing, that buys our product, and that continues to be a member of Ergatta, they aren't motivated by following along with an instructor. That's not exciting to them. That's dull. That's off-putting. That's not as motivating for them as something that responds to their input critically, that allows them to compete head-to-head with other people, that allows them to compare their score against their friends or their family, that allows them to like hit specific targets and high scores and get real-time feedback and like get to a win state for a workout or an interval or a specific challenge, rather than kind of just following along with a video or in real life of an instructor and kind of almost kind of a didactic type of experience. So it's really like a psychographic profile. What motivates you? What emotional experience do you want to have when you're working out? Is it something that's kind of instructor based on their charisma, you're following along, you're learning from them, or it's something that you are personally driving, that's responding to your inputs, that is more competition based, that's more personalized to you? Again, like, I think the best analogy is watching Netflix versus playing Mario Kart. It's just a totally different experience that appeals to different people.
Yeah.
And might appeal to different people at different times on different moods.
Yeah, I think I'm one of these people. I probably, at 49, probably prefer Netflix, but with a 10-year-old son, we'll play Mario Kart and we'll happily do it. So I do wonder, because here I am middle-aged, and I hear this and I go, this is really appealing to me when I hear it.
Yeah.
But are you finding that there's an age gap here? Because this sounds like something that would be very appealing to younger people.
Yeah, interestingly, no. Like, our median age, last time I looked at the data, was like 44. It's a wide distribution. There's a bunch of people in their 20s. There's a bunch of people in their 60s and 70s. It doesn't skew younger. It does skew male, and it skews techier, right? There's more engineers. There's more gamers. And the main kind of psychographic kind of elements are more in people that are a little bit more introverted, and people that are a little bit more competitive. If you fall into one or both of those buckets. But yeah, demographically it skews male, but the age, it doesn't skew young, for whatever that's worth.
This episode is brought to you by Chalk and Dog, which brings together the vast experience and expertise of two of the brightest agencies in media, sports, wagering, and gaming. With deep roots in the UK and the US, the agency offers expert guidance in everything from market entry to market expansion for startups as well as established global brands, powered by best-in-class communication and creative experts. Chalk and Dog has vast international experience and delivers results-oriented, tailor-made solutions for B2B and B2C organizations. Introverted and competitive. I'm your customer. Okay, good. You hit me. You hit me right on the head.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. And it can be one or the other, right? There's kind of many people that are very extroverted, but they're competitive. Like they don't want to be listening to someone yell at them or talk to them when they work out. They want to be competing and winning and kind of hitting targets and achieving goals. And then there's some people that are just, introverted generally or introverted when they work out, right? The last thing they want to do when they're working out is stare into the eyes of Ali Love and hear her talk to them throughout the workout and motivate them verbally and kind of chat to them the whole time. So there's kind of a couple different persona types, but those are the two main criteria.
Okay. Take me through what the model is. Is it subscription? You purchase games? How does it work for you?
Yeah, good question. So right now it's so you buy the rower up front. So there's an upfront hardware cost. You can finance that and amortize that over a series of monthly payments. And then there's a monthly membership charge that's $29 a month. So for $29 a month, you get access to thousands of workouts, our full game suite, and we're putting out new software updates on typically every other week with new features, new games, new integrations, new visuals, new experiences, new stats, etc. Yeah.
Okay. And you had mentioned, like, look, everybody's going to be different. Like, they may like rowing once, they may want to go play basketball, they may want to do something else. How do you think through hardware as you try to grow the business?
Yeah, good question. So right now we're based around rowing, and the rowing modality is really compelling because it's a full body efficient workout. Like, it ticks a lot of boxes. But ultimately, right, like running and biking, generally speaking, are more common. It's more accessible to people. So, there's, in the long term, we're interested in being across multiple modalities on and off, the rower, the bike, the treadmill, the elliptical. But very centered on cardio, right? So when you're on a cardio machine and you're working out, and yeah, the long-term vision is to be the leader in game-based fitness content, right? So if you are working out with gaming content, specifically on a cardio machine, you are like the brand that the best product out there, the most thriving kind of membership base and community is Ergatta. So the long-term vision isn't about rowing, but right now the modality is growing really fast. It's a really compelling workout. We're attracting people that have never really rowed before because of the quality of the workout. So right now it's not a limiting factor, but at some point it likely will be. And there's the desire to eventually expand outside of rowing.
Okay. And are you working with gyms around the country, or are you looking at this as a home-based model entirely?
Yeah, good question. So generally a home-based model. So right now it is 99% plus home. We do not sell into big box commercial gyms. We've gotten a lot of inbound interest from hospitality, from hotel, boutique hotels or hotel chains. And so we're starting to do a little bit more of that, right? That the unit looks really good. It's different. It's interesting. It kind of aligns with the brand promise and customer experience that a lot of like higher end hotels or boutique hotels want to deliver to their customers. So that's actually an interesting growth opportunity for us. But generally speaking, it's overwhelmingly the home.
Okay. You are announcing a new gaming experience. It's called Vortex. Do you want to explain what that is?
Generally speaking, we are building an engine to design, develop, and launch new workout game experiences on a go-forward basis. So this is something that will continue to happen, not every month, but, every couple of months or so eventually. So this is something that will keep happening for us. So Vortex specifically. So this is a multiplayer game. So you are playing again, with other people when you're working out. So you are competing with 4 other people. It's inspired by Hungry Hungry Hippos. If you ever played that, or if you've had kids that play that, where there's marbles in the middle and you're kind of gobbling them up and trying to get there before the people that you're playing against. But that's just the inspiration. It's more complicated than that. I think like the way that the game's structured is that there are these intervals. It's a series of intervals and rest periods where you are competing against those other people and collecting marbles and building up to a high score and trying to win each interval and ultimately the whole workout. And there's maybe 2 things that are interesting to call out about it. One is this notion of calibrated competition, right? So we have a race experience, right? When you race against someone, when you're running or biking or rowing, it's really hard to find good competition, right? If you and I had a sprint race right now, Bram, we would know probably in the first 5 seconds who was going to win. And it probably wouldn't be close. Someone would be much faster than the other person. And the same is true in rowing. The concept of calibrated competition, basically, to your point, it's almost like a golf handicap, right? Like we know because our system has your whole historical data, we have this whole unique kind of calibration system that kind of tailors each workout and each target to you. We know exactly your fitness profile and your fitness level. And so we can essentially handicap in real time everyone's performance and everyone's score so that you could compete with an Olympic rower or, someone who's never rowed before and hasn't worked out in a year. So there's this normalized kind of handicap competition that allows you to compete effectively and in a fun way with everyone else. And then the other thing I'll say is it introduces more strategy, right? So really good video games have a sense of strategy, right? There's many different ways to win. It's not clear what the right strategy is to accomplish the goal that you want to accomplish. In Vortex, there's a couple different ways to win, right? You could kind of save all your energy for the bonus periods when the marbles are worth more and kind of just sprint and go as fast as you possibly could there. You can go higher cadence, right? So you can go more strokes per minute, but at a lower kind of effort or power. Or you could focus on really high power, but at the expense of lower stroke rate. And you can kind of vary those strategies over time as you conserve your energy, as you build up so there's a real sense of strategy that it's not exactly clear how to win. And whereas with the race, it's pretty clear how you win, right? Like there's not a ton of strategy. There's some sense of like, do I try harder at the beginning or the end or the middle? But there's a little bit more strategy that makes it more interesting, right? We see people doing the same workout over and over again with different competition and with different strategic approaches. And that's another element that I think our members are quite excited about.
Okay, last thing. Do you envision a day where this is a fully immersive experience where you're in VR and exercising?
Oh, interesting. Maybe. I haven't personally been myself, our management team, and our board and investors, we've not personally been sold that here's the future of fitness, right? There's problems around working out with a big thing on your head. There's problems around sweat. There's problems around like disorientation. Yeah. I'm not totally there yet. Not necessarily like that would fit within our vision. It obviously wouldn't fit within our current hardware and our software would require modifications. But I'm not currently sold on that being the future of fitness content or kind of gamified fitness.
Tom Aulet is the CEO and the co-founder of Ergatta. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
On the next Future Sport podcast, you never dreamed a basketball hoop in your backyard could do this.
When Paul went away for school and I was still in Wisconsin, he was a year older than I. We stayed in touch by playing on Snapchat. So he'd record a shot, send it back. I'd record a shot, send it back. And that's how the whole idea for Hoop was born, around just competing remotely.
That's Laith Saeed, founder of Hoop, a company that is turning the modern basketball hoop into a multimedia gaming and entertainment device. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein.